This video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Someone I don't talk about nearly enough on this channel is Tim Burton. He's made some classics that were early favorites of mine, favorites that for the most part still hold up. Like The Last Filmmaker I talked about in a standalone review, he's one of the few filmmakers who can basically do whatever he wants at this point, even if it has to be for a sequel. He's just a flat-out interesting director, who unfortunately is also one of our biggest hit-or-miss directors out there. It's no secret that while he's undoubtedly one of our most financially successful auteurs, he hasn't really been knocking it out of the park quality-wise these days. Which is all to say, when I first heard news about Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, the long-awaited sequel to, you guessed it, Beetlejuice, I wasn't exactly jumping up and down over it. But coming out of this movie, my head was a total cluttered mess. My thoughts are all over the place on this thing, so let's sort them out right here, right now. Beetlejuice Beetlejuice tells the story of the Dietz family and what happens when they return home. Lydia's daughter becomes entangled with connections to the afterlife, and meanwhile, Beetlejuice himself is being tormented by his ex-wife. The film stars Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton, and Catherine O'Hara, and brings in new faces like Willem Dafoe, Justin Theroux, and most notably, Jenna Ortega. And to be honest, I'm just not on the Jenna Ortega hype train quite yet. I caught her in Finest Kind last year, which I was seriously unimpressed by, and here, I still don't get it. I mean, it doesn't help she's standing next to some of the best actors of their generation who are delivering pretty damn good performances that we'll get into in a second, but even then, you would think the charm of those actors would rub off onto her, but it's not. It's unfortunately one of those cases where every scene that's just her, or with the love interest played by Arthur Conti, is borderline unwatchable, really flat delivery, zero charisma. Good outfits. She is rocking that sweater, but thankfully she doesn't really feel like the main character here, even if she's meant to be. The film is mostly dominated by Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, and Michael Keaton, who actually gets to do a lot more here than he did in the first. I wouldn't say he does more with his performance here, you just get more of the same thing, which is not bad at all. If anything, it's insanely impressive how well Keaton snaps right back into this character. He looks, sounds, and moves no different than he did in the first film, and that was 35 entire years ago. I mean, the more I think about it, I'm seriously impressed by what he does here. It's a fantastic performance. Speaking of, Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hara are equally as sharp. O'Hara specifically being the funniest person in the film. By far, she's still so goddamn funny. You can tell how fun this movie was to make, which is something I also felt watching the original. These sets are so physical and big and colorful. Of course, it's probably a really fun thing to work on. It's nice to watch people have fun. Speaking of sets, let's talk about the art department here, because yeah, it's incredible. Tim Burton, love him or hate him, is one of our most ambitious filmmakers when it comes to production design, makeup, all that jazz. He's someone you can count on to use every penny of the budget to make something colorful and fun to look at. Beetlejuice, the original, is probably his most extravagant film that I've seen, at least. It's almost so jam-packed with gags and ideas that it starts to feel less like a movie and more like a bizarre dream, which is a compliment. I love that about it. And it's no secret that films these days shy away from physical sets, practical effects, all that. While we can tell ourselves that green screen and CGI allows for more insane ideas to come to life, nothing beats practical effects and real makeup. Even Tim Burton is guilty of creating digital mud. But here, I see a little bit of the old Burton, the old Timmy. I see a filmmaker who's fed up with all these issues you see in a lot of films today, with wasted time, artificial blobs, flat lighting. Holy shit, the lighting here was a breath of fresh air. It's not the best thing in the world, but for a film of this size, damn do they do something with the lighting. That's so nice to see. Deep shadows, vibrant colors, bright skies. This is how you use digital. I don't know jack shit about VFX, so take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but an excuse I always tell myself for why so many CGI-heavy movies look so gray is that blander colors makes it easier to color match the CGI assets. I don't think I'm right about that, but that's what I'm telling myself. But this is proof movies with VFX don't need to be like that. They can be weird and dark and colorful. That's the stuff that looks good. The stop motion sandworm looks amazing, even if there's not enough of it. There's a very bizarre scene that recounts an airplane accident that's a mix of stop motion and traditional 3D animation. I don't really know what I'm looking at, to be honest. And it looks kind of horrible, but again, like nothing I've ever seen before at the same time. The silliness of the scene kind of makes it work. I'll take that any day over, again, a poorly executed green screen version of that scene. Point is, this looks exciting, which to me means it looks good. Burton finds interesting camera angles, he fills the room with color and texture, he lets the actors interact with the space. That's what we've been missing. We're halfway through, and I'm kind of gassing this thing up. Karsten, it sounds like you loved this movie. This film is really well directed. It's some of Burton's most exciting direction in years. The screenplay is like walking through a minefield. You get some hits, like whatever they got Willem Dafoe doing. Catherine O'Hara too, again, very funny. But remember when I was talking about the look and I said, when I watch this movie, I see a filmmaker fed up with the world we're living in. That sort of comes out in the script too, in a way that simply comes off like a bitter boomer every now and then. Using terms like safe space and triggered for comedic effect in a 2024 release. What are we doing here? When Beetlejuice said the word influencers, better yet, when he says Netflix exec, oh my god, it's like someone sucked all the air out of the room. Again, I get he's always been kind of that character. It's the type of humor to expect from this film. I'm not entirely pissed off at when he looks at the camera, that's to be expected. This is not really my thing. It's already dated and it just came out. I guess one way to put it is it feels like it was written years ago, which kind of was. Or at least the idea for a Beetlejuice sequel has been in the works since basically the first one became a smash hit. This has gone through so many versions. It's been a long time coming for this thing. And what we got kind of works. I love the original Beetlejuice, but an issue I continue to have with it is just how convoluted it all feels. To fit all those ideas, Burton has these characters jump through what feels like 100 different hoops. And the sequel, while slightly less sporadic in tone, is equally convoluted with like 5 different subplots going on at the same time, none of which feel like they're entirely fleshed out. It feels like it's coming up with so many different excuses for why this sequel exists, when it really didn't need to do all that. I admire its ability to balance what feels like 7 central characters and have them all feel fully fleshed out by the end, but it does read at the end of the day like one plot hole away from completely falling apart. But the film knows that, right? The backstory for why they all return home, the event that caused the funeral, is absurd and ridiculous. Everything that happens here is ridiculous. I'm not gonna say stupid, but you know. But it's never irritating or annoying. Comedies that deal in these over-the-top and quote-unquote stupid ideas tend to come across like they don't care. They have a smug attitude about the whole thing that, personally, I'm not crazy about. But Beetlejuice cares. It takes these ideas, even the worst ideas, deathly serious, which is admirable. And you know what? That's what I gotta say. Thanks for watching. Go watch Beetlejuice, and form your own opinion. And before you head out, you know I want to thank this week's sponsor, Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. With Squarespace, you're able to start a completely personalized website with their new guided design system, Squarespace Blueprint, which allows you to choose from professionally curated layout and styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up, tailored to your brand or business and optimized for every device. You can easily launch your website and get discovered fast with their integrated, optimized SEO tools so that you show up more often to more people and grow the way that you want. Also, I gotta mention their video collections feature, which allows you to upload video content, organize your video library, and showcase your content on beautiful video pages. Pretty ideal feature if you're like me and you're a filmmaker or you just make videos online. And my personal favorite feature is their visual design tools and connected accounts, which allow you to grow credibility and engage visitors with an unrivaled suite of visual design effects built in and ready to go on any Squarespace website. You can create your own online aesthetic with dozens of modern and intuitive options, and then connect social and multimedia accounts in just a few clicks to extend your brand's footprint. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch that website, go to squarespace.com/Karsten to save 10% off of your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Thanks for watching this video, and guys, I'm gonna see you very soon in my next video, actually. So, bye.